You want it to be one way.
What?
You want it to be one way.
Man, I don't
You
know
want it
what
to
you...
be one
Man,
way.
stop! Stop saying that.
But it's the other way.
They hate when you elevate. They stacking up losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believe.
Yep. What up? It's another plug. It's your boy Rain. Long day at work, came in, wanted to put one in for the day. Get something on, right? But definitely wanted to continue, making the breakdown on my last video about the whole entire Oscar De La Hoya, Bernard Hopkins, Ryan Garcia, extravaganza that happened at yesterday's press conference. Just kind of giving the breakdown of ultimately how we got to this point, right? Well, on this segment, I definitely wanted to tap in a little bit more directly into, what do I think of what I saw? The breakdown is one thing, but how you see it is a different thing, right? I usually try to stay pretty unbiased and stay out of the picking one side over the other, always trying to empathize and understand, both sides of the coin. This one's going to be a little different. This one's definitely going to be a little different for me. For years, boxing has been doing this, has been going through this, has been trying to balance checks and balance systems, and been trying to put there for where boxers are able to keep promoters, right, in a balanced way, to where promoters aren't taking advantage of boxers, and boxers obviously, vice versa, aren't taking advantage of promoters. But I always thought there's always been a weird relationship where boxers have kind of been put into a situation to where they're having to take what's there, unless you're a superstar, you get to call the shots. But for most people, most of the boxers in the industry, I think, would agree that dealing with promoters can become very complicated, especially when you look at it today. Like today, with the amount of promotional companies that are out right now, as far as Golden Boy, PBC, Top Rank, Matchroom, there's just all these platforms with fighters on them, and now the politics of the game have gotten to a point to where people from Top Rank have a hard time making fights with people from PBC, and Matchroom may have a problem doing work with PBC or Top Rank, or Golden Boy may not. It just gets crazy. And these boxers get into these contracts with these promoters, and these promoters aren't promoting them the right way, or they don't have the connections or relationships with these other promotional companies to actually be able to help these fighters make it to where it's at. And because of the way it's been managed, promoters have really just been capitalizing, making as much money as they can off the boxers as well as the fans. And there's really been hardly any pushback, outside of some complaining and whining. Well, I thought it was prolific, it was profound, to see Ryan Garcia finally stand up for himself and I think speak to what a lot of other fighters would have to admit they can relate to, even though his situation is a little bit more extreme, right? Because you look at how Golden Boy treated him in the build up to the Gervonta Davis fight, especially like a week or 2 weeks before the fight, just really right there next to him, expecting Ryan to knock out Gervonta, and all the war of words, and the two promotional companies coming together as far as the money team, PBC and versus Golden Boy, and they really painted this picture like they were standing behind their fighter. And as soon as Ryan Garcia lost, you saw something that was absolutely unbelievable to see. You saw Ryan Garcia sitting on a stage by himself with just his family members sitting with him on the stage supporting him, while you saw, Gervonta Davis's whole entire franchise or organization, whatever you want to call it, his whole business, standing beside him in a victory, to the point where they had to go over and embrace him and console him and let him know it's all good, and take pictures with him and make him feel some sort of support. And to see Oscar and Bernard Hopkins leave the building after that fight and the way they did, and then the excuse of death threats, it was disgusting. And I don't think anybody who saw that could really say different, right? That was just a disgusting thing. And, to know that Ryan Garcia was still, and even to hear Oscar De La Hoya be so adamant about contractual obligations, and that, if Ryan Garcia were to try to get out of that, the amount of, arbitration that would have to take place, as far as being in a courtroom, and possible lawsuits involved, where this young man was really just trapped by a contract and imprisoned in so many ways inside of an agreement that he may have made with the devil, right? Like, when you see it happen in front of your eyes, it's one thing to hear about it, right? It's one thing to hear rumors. Like, Don King had many rumors are going around about him, about how he mismanaged money and, did fighters dirty and wasn't fair and wasn't doing everything straight down the way he said he was going to do it. What his mouth said, his actions didn't follow suit, and things of that nature. But to see live on a press conference the lack of soul, almost like you saw no soul in Oscar De La Hoya, Bernard Hopkins the same way, just no bottom to how low they would go to I guess make money, right? But at the end of the day, more profound was how entitled Oscar and Bernard were, where nobody can't say anything to them, and you just saw them take their freedom. There's a saying, absolute power corrupts absolutely, right? And this really fits in this situation, because when you look at Bernard Hopkins and Oscar De La Hoya, and you can even look at old videos of Bernard Hopkins when he fought and how he spoke towards a system that was taking advantage of fighters in the way that he is presently taking advantage of fighters. Him and Oscar are taking advantage of a particular fighter, at least, right? Being Ryan Garcia, but also hearing things from Shane Mosley about how things didn't go the way he thought they were going to go, and Canelo Alvarez and even Al Heyman, who used to work with Golden Boy, actually separating from them because he didn't like the practices that were there and taking half the roster with him, right? So it's funny how these guys who were advocates for fighter advocacy, and always giving the fighter the lion's share of what they deserved, because they were coming from a background where they weren't getting that type of respect. And now for them to turn into who they are today, there's an irony to it that, is tangible. You can't even deny it. To see Oscar sitting there on the stage, looking like, and I can't help it when I see Oscar, I can't help but see I'll be honest with you, I can't help but see substance abuse, right? I see it on him. I see the drinking and whatever else comes with that. He's cleaning up. He's on the stage reading from a piece of paper. No authenticity about this man at all. Completely unauthentic. Just manufactured BS. You just nothing there. And then to see Bernard Hopkins trying to, fight for the ability to give the best speeches, and all the attention on me and who he is, and so proud of his accomplishments of 20 plus years of boxing experience, and knowing this and knowing that, and no regard at all, you know, and knowing all this stuff, but still would get in front of a camera and say how he would shelf a fighter if the fighter didn't perform the way he thought they should perform, and having that fighter's career in his hands, and just so arrogantly, no respect for a fighter that you're supposed to be representing, that you're supposed to be promoting. It was a beautiful thing to see Ryan Garcia get up on the stage and use his time to not promote his fight as much as to just expose these characters, these horrible characters that were on the stage pretending to be promoters, and you can tell they didn't have a clue what they were talking about and what they were doing. And everything made sense when you look hindsight, when you look how Canelo escaped, and I'm going to use that word, escaped from their grasp, and was able to make a career for himself. You know, you'd have to imagine Canelo seeing Ryan, because at one point in time Canelo was working with Ryan, you know, but you'd have to imagine Canelo just wanting to tell Ryan, like, yo, get it out of here. And you see the struggle that Ryan, if you really pay attention to the history, you see Ryan had been trying to get away from Golden Boy. Even before his hiatus, his mental health hiatus, he was trying to get away and he couldn't get away. You have to think that part of that mental health hiatus he went on was trying to figure out how to get away from Golden Boy. This company is, these two gentlemen, just travesty to the sport. And Ryan taking his opportunity to get at them that way. People could say whatever they want. I know Shane Mosley felt like he wanted to make sure he was focused on the fight and wasn't focused on the wrong things. Sometimes some things take precedence over the other. And yes, fighting is what they signed up to do, and that should take precedence over the whole thing. But this deserved what it got. The level that Ryan hit to get this out was, I think it was perfect time. It was the perfect time for it to happen right there in a press conference live, where there could be no editing. There could be no manipulation or misinterpretation of words, as Oscar De La Hoya so eloquently put in him describing why Ryan was act that way. And then to see Oscar De La Hoya be like completely lost, like, I don't know why he's feeling that way. I don't get it. And then try to bring up his mental health as come on. I mean, the low frequency level that these guys are operating on, to bring up this man's mental health. I hope he's mentally there. I want to check to him. Ryan, answer my phone call. What kind of sick, twisted type of, and you know what? I know you guys aren't doing it. I don't believe Oscar De La Hoya is doing it to be sick and twisted. I just believe he just is sick and twisted at this point. Just can't see the reality right in front of his face. Losing his company. What kind of fighter is going to want to do any type of business or put any trust in Golden Boy right now? Be honest. You got to be super desperate or completely not in the know, have no friends or any connections or any associations with anybody in the industry, because I'm sure anybody in the industry will say, stay away from them. They just have nothing to bring to the table for a fighter. They have no experience. You really think about how many fighters Golden Boy has took to the top. Be honest. When you look at machines like Canelo Alvarez, who's a machine within himself, fighting Floyd Mayweather and having the fights he had to be who he is, most of his success, if you want to be honest, happened outside of Golden Boy, right? And then you look at Ryan Garcia. He had to fight tooth and nail to be able to get that fight with Gervonta Tank Davis, with Oscar De La Hoya publicly speaking about if he was going to fight Tank, he would need a bat. This is from your promoter, and you're sitting here trying to get a fight set up with this guy, and this guy says the only way you could beat him was a baseball bat. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And then you have Bernard Hopkins talking about, when they asked him, people saying that you should be treating Ryan Garcia like a champion because he is the top earner, the biggest star on your roster. And Bernard Hopkins saying, questioning, is Ryan Garcia a champion? Obviously we see he's not a champion, but for you, he's a champion. He's your biggest payday. He's your biggest payday, so he's a champion for you. And then to go into, I'll promote fighters, but I'll never promote a lie. I mean, it doesn't end, and I doubt it will end. And I hear that they're in arbitration in a courtroom trying to figure out some common ground to where they can both walk away amicably and not have to make it complicated, because I know and believe that Ryan is focused without a doubt more than ever to get away from these dudes. But I wanted to put my thought out on it. I really wanted to put the thought out on it because there is no middle ground. There is no understanding. And this is one of those situations. There's no middle ground understanding here. There's right and there's wrong. There's reality and there's an illusion of reality. And what Oscar De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins have been doing for years at this point, I almost feel a little sorry for Eric Gomez. I don't know him, but I can only imagine him being probably the only serious businessman in that room, really having to deal with, the likes of Oscar De La Hoya, who knows nothing what he's talking about, or Bernard Hopkins, who wants to just have these long revolutionary speeches and does nothing. What does Philly know of Bernard Hopkins outside of his accolades he's earned in the ring? What has he done for his city? What fighters has he pulled up through his city? Right? Am I crazy? I mean, these guys are like gods. They're like giants to boxing fans. The boxing community looks at these guys like infallible because they're in the Hall of Fame and they did such great things inside the ring, but never take the time to consideration that these dudes might really be some really pieces of, let's just say, an acquired taste. Let's just say an acquired taste of personality, of person, arrogance, narcissism, entitlement, lack of integrity when it comes to what they promised their fighters are going to do for them. I mean, it's insane. It's insane. When you look at the face-off, the last face-off between Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia, and how Bernard was proceeding to insert himself inside of that face-off just to get some camera time, to get some attention, to the point to where the young bull Gervonta had to bark on him, disrespect him, and just let him know, like, do not play with me, and then have to let it be known. I had to tell him to let the youngins do it. It's not your time. You're talking about boxers. I remember when LL Cool J mentioned about his relationship with Def Jam and how that relationship changed once they made Jay-Z the CEO of Def Jam. And look, I'm a Jay-Z fan. You know what I mean? I think he's the best rapper that ever did it. But what LL said was really profound and real. He said, there's no way I'm going to sit here and let another rapper manage me. It just didn't make any sense, because at the end of the day, Jay-Z's programmed to be Jay-Z before he's programmed to be Russell Simmons or a CEO of a big record company and having all these musical artist careers in his hand. He's a rapper first. So, and look, kudos to Jay-Z, because I think he did a pretty decent job with Def Jam. When you think about what he brought in there and how he did some things. He did some things, but ultimately I understood where he was coming from. He was coming from not wanting to end up in a scenario like Ryan Garcia, having two boxers who know nothing but being the center of attention. They know nothing but being the most admired people in the room, nothing but being competitors. They don't know how to manage people, and it's clear. It's so clear when you see the way they carry themselves. And it was refreshing to see a fighter get an opportunity, because not all fighters get that opportunity that Ryan got. Fighters don't get that opportunity that Ryan got, to be able to get on the stage, everybody listening to him. He's the headliner of the show, and be able to be like, yo, scratch the fight. These promoters is crazy. They really think they're going to take my career and do whatever they feel like doing with it. Don't be fooled. I know that these dudes do not support me. I know that these dudes are betting against me. These dudes have shown me their true colors in many different ways. What they did in the last few days is nothing in comparison to what I've been through with them. And they can say whatever they want to say, but only God can judge me now. And I was just like, man, listen, it don't get no realer than that. Drop the mic. Drop the mic. It's over with. And, Oscar responding with mental health allegations and trying to make this guy sound like he's out of his mind. And Bernard speaking like, whatever he was doing, whatever he does, I mean, this guy's been slipping out of his mentality for like the past, 3 to 5 years, just really making to decide. What did he say his name was? He's the instigator. Is that what he said he was? Whatever, man. Whatever, man. But look, man, it's your boy Rain. I'm not going to stay long. I did want to address it and get it off my chest outside of being, because guys, you'll get used to me. I'm an unbiased dude. I try to keep it down the middle. I give my opinions, but at the end of the day, I always respect the fact that these boxers and these promoters, they got a job to do that I don't know how to do, and I don't do it. So outside of something like this, which is flagrantly ridiculous, I might put some perspective on some things, and some people might like it. Some people think I'm riding the fence, but what am I riding the fence on? I'm not doing business with one of these people. I'm just telling us, I'm just giving you guys the news and giving you some perspective on it. That's about it. But this one right here needed a line needed to be drawn in the sand. And these guys are just, what I've seen from Golden Boy in the past 3 years, disgusting. I don't know what these guys are doing. I can't imagine this company going too much further. Shout out to the people on the Golden Boy, as far as Virgil Ortiz and Jaime Munguia, and they have a roster, Kid Austin, I wish you guys the best, man. Fans of each one of you guys, love to see you guys fight. But I'm sure you guys ain't blind, and just watching and understanding how these guys are moving, you got to have questions for yourself. Anyway, like, comment, share, subscribe, please. Let me a comment. Tell me what you think. Am I crazy? I know I'm not crazy, but leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. All right. But on that note, it is Claymore Rain. This is ATP Combat Media. This is the show. And at this point, we are out.
You want it to be one way. What? You want it to be one way. You want it to be one way.
Stop saying that.
Yeah, they hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when